Greetings, are Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 289, and this is Monday. Well, we have some information about the Ukraine and Russia um, peace treaty negotiations. So I'm going to read this article and then I'll focus on what I want to focus on with you today. The U.S. pledged to protect Ukraine from any future Russian attack, U.S. officials said, offering to support European security guarantees and seek Senate backing for Washington's promised role, which it hasn't yet publicly detailed. The American pledge, which Russian officials are likely to dispute, came on the second day of talks in Berlin among the U.S., Ukraine, and European leaders and top officials. Officials from the U.S., Ukraine, and Europe all said progress had been made. While U.S. officials insist they aren't unduly pressuring Ukraine, the Trump administration wants a deal done by year end, if possible. Ukrainian and European officials are skeptical about an agreement that can be reached so quickly. However, over the talks, doubts whether Russia would accept any deal that forces it to compromise over territory and whether Moscow would reject precisely the kind of security guarantees for Ukraine that would satisfy Kiev. Those doubts are being expressed, okay? Not by Russia yet, but by those who are watching it. Moscow has said it would strongly object if proposals developed by Kiev and Brussels, such as U.S.-backed security guarantees, are included in the peace plan. I would assess that it was really, really positive in almost every respect, one of the U.S. officials said. We have got consensus on a number of issues that we view as critical to getting to a peace deal. We have some things to discuss as well. The U.S. officials said the guarantees, which are set out in a draft document compiled by the U.S., European, and Ukrainian militaries, would be similar to NATO's Article 5 guarantees, referring to a part of the founding treaty that covers collective defense. Zelensky, speaking at a press conference, said that progress has been made on security guarantees and that Washington was near hearing Ukraine's concerns. He said that what he called destructive parts of the original proposal had been removed from the document, but that Ukraine would need Washington to mediate over territorial issues. It is important that the U.S. accepts Article 5 like plus the corresponding security guarantees, Zelensky told journalists on Monday, and we are making progress there. I see the details that the military has been working on. They look quite good, even though it is only the first draft. What the USA has put on the table here in Berlin in terms of legal and material guarantees is truly remarkable. This is a very important step forward, which I very much welcome, said German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The American side has made some political and legal commitments here that are quite remarkable, he added. The official said Trump was open to putting the security guarantee package up for a vote, the official said, noting they had briefed Trump twice on their discussions in Berlin. They cautioned that the offer wouldn't stay on the table forever, a sign that Kiev will need to move swiftly to resolve the remaining issues blocking a deal. Trump allies, including Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, have been encouraging the White House to send the package of security guarantees to the Senate for a vote. Their approval would send a strong message that the U.S. stands with Kiev regardless of who sits in the Oval Office. I think if you got a new security agreement that Ukraine could support, that would prevent a third invasion, and that was part of the peace deal. You'd get a big vote in the Senate, Graham said in an interview. If Ukraine is for it, Europe is for it. I think it'll get most Democrats. And if Trump is for it, you'll get most Republicans. But, Graham said, the vote wouldn't necessarily be to turn the security guarantees into a treaty with Ukraine. It would be a congressional blessing, statutory in nature, that would survive Trump. So here's my opinion on this. I want to focus on the very last part of that article, and actually an earlier part that Ralph was also referenced to. here I'm quote unquote here. But Graham said the vote wouldn't necessarily be to turn the security guarantees into a treaty with Ukraine. It would be a congressional blessing, statutory in nature, that would survive Trump. That term, statutory in nature, is key. I have said all along that the only way a treaty would work is if there are robust security and monitoring guarantees. And that appears to me to be exactly what is being proposed. Whether in treaty form or a statute, it would survive President Trump. That's something we got to remember. President Trump has a limited time. This is his second term, so he's limited as to what he can do. But the thing is, whether it's somebody he backs to be president, or whether it's somebody else, whether it's Republican, whether it's Democrat, whether it's independent, it won't matter. It will be if it's a statute, it will be a law that can only be overturned by Congress, and then the current that president signing it. So it's as close to a guarantee as you can get. A treaty can also be undone. So I'm really excited about this. I think that this is the breakthrough, and here's what I see. They get do this right now. It would guarantee the security that Ukraine needs. The details of this still have to be worked out, but the United States can act now through congressional action. Such action will provide President Trump a legal and constitutional flexibility when negotiating with Trump. It will also calm Ukraine's reasonable fears concerning Russia. Now, I picture President Trump or somebody that represents him can go to Putin and say this: "It's not negotiable. It's the law. It's not going to change. We are guaranteeing Ukraine's security, period. So don't even bother to bring it up. Let's get on with the negotiation, but that we are going to stand by. We are going to make sure that you keep your word and Ukraine keeps their word. We want peace, and we're going to do it our way, nobody else's way." And I think Putin will have no choice but to listen to that and accept it. He might not like it. He might protest it, grumble about it, but I don't see how he can do anything else. Does that mean that a treaty is about to be signed this year? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. There's only 2 weeks left, and Putin knows how to drag things out. But I think it would be a remarkable and I think that this is the breakthrough that can actually pave the way. Now that has taken place, now there's still the land bit, and there's some constitutional things that Ukraine have. Zelensky does not have all power. He can have a lot of influence, but there are people in Ukraine, in their Congress and so forth, who may not like giving up any kind of territory, and it would have to come to a vote. And so that is something that, just like here in the United States, the president has to have Congress's, for in this case, Congress approve this security guarantee. Well, there's things that has to be done constitutionally in Ukraine. And so that is something that still has to be worked out, but they can be pushed a little bit there, and urged to move on with it, recognizing that there's certain condition there that may actually be in that statute that if Ukraine does this or if Ukraine, but the thing is, Ukraine will be faced with the same statute that Putin will be faced with. But different in this case, for them to move, to change things, maybe you have to add something to the Constitution, whatever it takes to get this done and through and get this peace treaty on track. And if it does that happens, I can see the peace treaty being maybe coming to to pass. It was the first quarter of next year. I'm not going to go beyond that, but that's what I see that possibly could happen. Will it happen? There's too many ifs for us to make any kind of prediction about that. But that's my opinion, folks. And if you disagree with it, feel free to comment. If you agree with it, also feel free to comment. In the meantime, I always try to inform you, encourage you, and inspire you. I hope I've done something along that line today. And by the way, I have a sale going on at the our bookstore, both for book services and for books themselves. 20% off, and it goes at least until Christmas. I may go beyond that, but if I'm focused, definitely going. The books have to be done quickly because then there's if they want that shipped, we are already into the area where it might not get to them by Christmas. But if they know it's coming, that's all. Yeah, sometimes you can have a gift that it's coming, it arrives, they open it, and then they later on, when they think, well, maybe when they give a thank you or whatever, those 3 to 4 different times in which they're going to remember you for what you gave them. And that one can be a book. A service can be pretty close to instant. And that is something that I would encourage you to do. Take advantage of the sale. Big savings there. And so I just ask that you consider that, visit our store, explore it, and then take whatever action is needed. Well, you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.